Hello, Shannon here. It took me about a week longer than what I had planned to do this video. I have looked over this movie so many times, and each time I just see something magnificent, so it has taken me quite a while to break it down. I've made a lot of notes. This movie may actually take quite a bit longer than most of my movies, but we are going to have fun doing it. We're going over the movie Aladdin. I wanted to talk a little bit before I get started about Jacob in the last video that I did. I didn't go over about the fact that Jacob is considered the supplanter first. That's one of the meanings of his name. And I talked about him being duality, and when he's referred to as Jacob, he is basically the old man or the Adam of who he is. We all have an Adam. We all have the potential to become one with either God's voice or the other voice. And so he is of the fleshly nature as the supplanter in the beginning. But he is going through a transformation, just like these butterflies represent the transformation that we'll go through if we keep the word of God and do it as best as possible. And there is no transformation into what God has created us to become if we don't. So in that, Jacob, basically when he starts off, God knows that he is going to become Israel. It's Jacob and the people around him that don't quite know this yet. So really a lot of times our transformation is to show others around us as well as ourselves who we really are. And the challenge is us believing in who we are so that we can become to the fullest ability who we are and who God created us to be. So I just wanted to go back over, the dual meaning of Jacob's name. And, as he grows and he becomes more operating in the law of love. And, I said in the story, he's referred to Jacob when he is the father of the older brothers, which represents the fleshly nature, represented by the Jews in the Bible. Are all Jews the older and fleshly nature? No, it's just an archetype. Just as Christians represent the younger brother or the spiritual nature, but are all Christians spiritual? No, not all Christians are believers. Not all Jews are non-believers. It's just an archetype. So I wanted to make that clear. As we jump into this movie, we're going to see some duality. And I did the last video to go over some of our different aspects of who we are so that I can explain that in this movie. So I'm going to start off by giving the definition and the meanings of some of these names and the animals and their names. So first off, we're going over the movie of Aladdin. I'm looking over notes. I'm reading. My contacts are a little scratchy. It's a little late tonight, but I'm going to try to go over this as quick as I can, and I ask God right now in Yeshua's name, salvation and redemption, to help me put this video forth and represent it exactly the way you would want me to. So first off, Aladdin. His name means nobility of faith or creed. The name Abu, his spiritual animal, or his animal in the movie, is a monkey. Monkeys represent fertility, luck, and prosperity. They represent adaptability and the ability to navigate through life's challenges with grace. The monkey's name is Abu, and it means the father of. So I'm hoping we're getting a little picture of who Aladdin may represent. The genie in the movie. Genie is the name, the meaning is a spin-off from John, which means God is gracious, from the name in Hebrew Yochanan, which my name Shannon is also a spin-off of Yochanan, and it also means God is gracious. The magical flying carpet, it's a covering, and it represents the Garden of Eden. Now, I've looked all these things up. I'm not making these things up. As the covering part is what I see, the carpet. But it also represents the Garden of Eden because it's a covering. And you'll see this through the movie as I explain what's going on. The oil lamp symbolizes the lighting the way for the righteous, the Holy Spirit, life, the light of divinity, wisdom, intellect, and good works. Princess Jasmine's name means gift from God. That's another picture of Hava in the garden. Dahlia, which is her servant, Princess Jasmine's servant, her name means flower or branch, which took me to the scripture, I'm the vine and you are the branches. Now, remember, Dahlia is a servant. She's serving Princess Jasmine, the gift from God. The gift from God symbolizes love, beauty, or sensuality. Now, Princess Jasmine's animal is the tiger. Her title symbolizes strength, courage, and fearlessness, commanding respect and admiration. It represents the heightened awareness and intuition guiding individuals to trust their inner wisdom. Her tiger's name is Raha, which means hope or a wish, also derived from the Sanskrit word Rajan, meaning king. So again, we're looking at the animals of these characters, the monkey in Aladdin, the tiger in Jasmine. They're representing their spirit and their flesh. They go back and forth as we go back and forth from the spiritual nature to the fleshly nature. The Hebrew word for shepherd, to tend pasture or shepherd a flock, is the Hebrew word for Rajan, which is the name of the tiger, which, remember, Hava is basically commanded to be the shepherd. She trains the children up in the ways of the Lord. Jafar, the bad guy in the movie, means stream or creek, represents the corruption, evil, and terror the society was and still is trying to brand on the Middle East. He is the vizier, the highest government official looking for a diamond in the rough to bring him the lamp. He is second to the Sultan. The Sultan is Jasmine's father. And Jafar wishes to be the most powerful. He represents the Esau's of the world. Those who would consume and devour others to have the power and the wealth. He argues about the lives he sacrificed for the power he has and the 5 years in jail, and he started as a common thief, but not to eat or feed the hungry, but to eventually steal kingdoms. His pet is a parrot, and the parrot represents messengers or witnesses regarded as a wise teacher. And that took me to the scripture, be wise as serpents, but gentle as doves. Hakim is the number one soldier that serves the Sultan and the princess. It means wise or intelligent. A reminder that anyone with his name can achieve anything they set their mind to. He is loyal to the Sultan and the law. The other soldiers follow his lead. The Sultan is Jasmine's father's, and wants her to marry. The Sultan is Jasmine's father. I'm sorry, I'm reading my notes. And wants her to marry so that they will have another sultan. Jasmine wants to lead the people. The Sultan and Jafar want Jasmine to follow traditions of men. In other words, they want her to be quiet and just look pretty and go do something else while they're running things. Now the Sultan, Jasmine's father, since he's lost his queen, he has been afraid to let Jasmine out, kind of like Jacob with Benjamin, or the father in The Little Mermaid with Ariel. Because they lost somebody, they fear losing another. Prince Ali is Arabic, and it means noble, sublime, high, exalted, rise, ascend, elevated champion. Ali's root comes from the Latin meaning other, different, or alien, as in we are to be aliens to the world. Now, I looked up the act of rubbing a lamp because I look up everything. I want to see meanings and things to verify what I'm seeing in a story. This is why I look everything up. Now, when I looked it up, there was a woman that gave what she thought And she also broke down this movie, but I chose not to read her breakdown because I didn't want it to have any bearing on what I'm seeing. I wanted to give mine, and then I'll go back and look at what she has to say later. So she says that the act of rubbing a lamp represents the prayer and meditation and a deep desire. For me, rubbing a lamp represents intimacy. And it depends on who's rubbing that lamp as to what that the intimacy is with. The lamp, rubbing the lamp so that the genie can come out. You know, the genie representing the Holy Spirit. The lamp is what it's encased in, which we would be that lamp. And so for me, rubbing the lamp is intimacy with what is within the lamp, if you are like Aladdin. The rubbing of the lamp, if you're like Jafar, would be the intimacy that you have with the result you're looking for, and not necessarily with the being that can bring that result into play. In other words, Aladdin's intimacy is with the genie, and whatever he brings and however he brings it is okay. He doesn't care about the outcome. He knows it's going to be good no matter what actually transpires. But now Jafar, his intimacy is with what he wants, and not with the one that he's asking to give it to him. So the cave is a place of meditation and mystery of transformation from the earthly to the heavenly, from the carnal to the spiritual. And of course, again, I looked these things up. Not all these things are coming from me. You can Google this and see that I have looked this up on Google. The lion's spiritual meaning is courage and strength, also spiritual strength. Mountains symbolize constancy, eternity, firmness, stillness, desires, dreams, and hopes. Now remember, you know, that a man of faith can move mountains. In other words, we can bring our hopes and dreams and desires into reality. So the movie starts with the genie after he's freed by Aladdin, telling the story of Aladdin to his two children. And he sings his first song, and I'm going to go over the words of some of these songs because they're very pertinent to the message here that I'm trying to convey, or, you know, translate through the movie of what I'm seeing, the spiritual interpretation. His song starts with, "There's a road that may lead you to good or to greed, through the power your wishing commands. Let the darkness unfold or find fortunes untold. Well, your destiny lies in your hands." In other words, you can either do it Aladdin's way, the honest way, and start from scratch being nothing and humble about it, or you can do it Jafar's way and end up in destruction. Okay, the lion at the mountain says, "Only one may enter here, one whose worth lies far within, the diamond in the rough." And we're all considered diamonds in the rough. It's just that not all of us go from the diamond in the rough to the actual diamond and shine. It depends on our choices. Jafar definitely is not a diamond in the rough, but he's looking for a diamond in the rough to give him that lamp so that he can get what he wants. Because he represents our fleshly nature. He's not going to be able to get that lamp because he has to be the diamond in the rough, and he's absolutely not. In the beginning of that movie, one of his people that's supposed to find a diamond in the rough lets him know, your destiny was never to be anything but second. And of course, Jafar kills him for saying it. So Jafar is seeking out the diamond in the rough to retrieve the oil lamp for him. Aladdin steals, then the movie jumps to Aladdin and the princess among the people. And Aladdin steals to eat and feed the hungry. The princess also gave someone else, the two children that are hungry, bread, basically stealing as well, but both of them kept the law of love. Now, I talked about this in the last video I did, where Yeshua says, if you've kept the law of love, you've kept all the law. It doesn't mean that any of the law has been taken away. what he's saying is that if you honor the law of love and you do it at the same time as breaking a law, you're going to be covered. It's a covering, because we are to lay our lives down for ourselves and others. If you're stealing food because you're hungry, you have the right to eat, to survive. Now, do we want to go steal because we need to eat? No, we want to get a job. But that's the process that Aladdin is in, is finding who he is and figuring out how he's going to live and do it honestly without having to steal. But in the meantime, he's got to do what he's got to do. But when he steals, he only steals for what he needs right then and there. And he in the movie, he shared what he stole with two children that were also hungry. And he gave them everything else that he had. He only took a couple bites. The princess is out among the people, and of course she's not really allowed to go out because her father, the sultan, is afraid something will happen to her. She doesn't have any money on her, so she takes bread from somebody's stand and gives it to starving children. Well, that kind of reminded me of America, who takes our taxpayer money and gives to those who are aliens that come here and don't have anything. So they get their cars and their food stamps and all these things, and they get it from us. But that's truly what we're supposed to want to do that. You know, my dad once told me it's not fair for people to force you to do that. And that's true. God doesn't want to force us to do what he's asked us to do. He wants us to want to do what he's asked us to do. So most of us who are trying to do the will of the Father, we're not complaining about some of those things that we have to do, like paying taxes to take care of those who can't. It's just that at some point, you know, you have to be able to get off of that help. I was once on help when I was younger and had young children. There's no shame in that. It's humility to be able to ask and get that help. We just don't want to stay there. That's the process of transformation, like the butterflies. Becoming better people, making better choices, learning more, and growing. Aladdin believes he is more than what the people think he is. He's an orphan. We're supposed to take care of orphans and widows. So, you know, he shouldn't have ever had to steal. He should have had help. So, you know, when the princess takes that bread and gives it, Aladdin steps in to protect her from being caught. And that's what I started to say about the law of love. If they had been caught, they would have lost their lives. It's a picture of them laying down their lives to feed and be fed. So that's keeping the law of love. And because they did that and they offered up the opportunity that they may not be able to live after that if they got caught, they're honored by not getting caught. God made sure they didn't get caught. And this happens in everyday life. We wonder why people continue to get away with this, that, and the other. Well, God knows their heart. We can't see their heart like God can. He knows what he's finishing in them, what he's started, because he said he's going to finish in all of us what he started in us. So we can't see that future, but God knows. Aladdin believes he is, okay, I already said that. And he sings a song about believing that he's more than what the people think he is. So, you know, he's faithful and he's a believer. And remember, I said that we're all fighting that the voice of our flesh that tells us we can't do this and we can't do that. We're not enough. We're too skinny. We're too fat. We're too tall. We're too short, and on and on and on. Jasmine has to get back to the kingdom and present herself to a wannabe husband. Now, she tells Aladdin that she didn't tell Aladdin that she's the princess. She tells him that she's actually the servant girl, Dahlia, because she doesn't want him to know who she is. So she's telling a lie to protect her identity. That's her ego. That's her fleshly nature protecting herself. Also, Aladdin ends up taking her bracelet and making the guy think that he's given him the bracelet so that they can both get loose from being taken to jail for stealing. And then he takes that bracelet back to give back to Jasmine, but the monkey ends up stealing it. And at this time, you know, later he tells the monkey, there are times when you can steal and times that you can't. This is really a picture of him, his spirit, talking to his fleshly nature, the monkey. And he's explaining to his flesh when you can take and when you can't, when it's okay to eat or to feed the hungry, and when you can't, just to have an object that's worth a lot of money. And so, I pictured Aladdin and that monkey being, one, and Jafar and his parrot, the parrot who calls Jafar his master. When our flesh is running our spirit, our flesh is the master. But when the spirit is able to take over and run our flesh, that's when the flesh becomes the husband. So we'll go from calling our flesh the Baal or master to the husband when the flesh is ready to lay it down so the spirit can run the body. We all have both. So where am I? Okay, the prince, I can't even read my writing. Prince Anders, I think, means manly or masculine, courageous, and warrior. Jasmine is always put off by the lack of substance. She's looking for somebody with Aladdin's substance. And he shows her that substance until later when he asks the genie to make him a prince because she has to marry a prince and he wants to be the one that she marries. Jafar is evil and sinister sorcerer. He suffers the narcissistic personality disorder just like Cinderella's mother. Jasmine wants to lead the people. Jafar wants Jasmine to conform to man's traditions and be silent. Again, man's traditions. And how many times have we women been told to be quiet, that we're not supposed to speak, when really it was the opposite. The woman is supposed to be heard, listened to, and honored, unless she's, of course, saying something that doesn't coincide with the word. She then sings a song about her not being silent or speechless. Same thing as the Little Mermaid and Cinderella, the battle between the flesh and the spirit. Aladdin sneaks into the palace to return Jasmine's bracelet, and Jafar's parrot sees Aladdin and the monkey and calls Aladdin the diamond in the rough. Now you know that those who are like Jafar or Esau, they can scout when someone has the spirit of a diamond in the rough. They know who's going to be blessed, who's righteous, when they see that coat of colors on them, that's the identity of somebody that can dream. A man without a dream shall surely die. Now, the bad guys have dreams too, but they don't necessarily believe they can do it. That's why they're trying to steal it from others. Jasmine tells Aladdin he can't just break into a palace and walk around like you own the place, and Aladdin says if you don't have anything, you have to act like you own everything. And faith is calling things that are not as though they are. Jasmine's tiger likes Aladdin. He attacked the other potential prince, as well as all the others that have tried to get with Princess Jasmine. Aladdin gets intercepted by Jafar and Hakim. Hakim's the lead soldier, as he is leaving and is offered a deal to retrieve that oil lamp in the cave. Up until this point, he doesn't realize Jasmine is the princess, but because she told him that she was the servant girl Dahlia. Now, I want you to keep in mind that the princess, Jasmine, she treats her servant very well, like a friend. Jafar promises him riches so that he can have enough to impress or win the princess. Jafar tells Aladdin he was once like Aladdin, a common thief, but took it further to stealing kingdoms. He tells Aladdin to get the lamp and not touch any of the treasures in the cave. Aladdin and his monkey struggle with this, but keep each other in check. And, if you watch this movie, which I hope that you do before and after I talk about it, so that, after you can go back and see all these things that I'm talking about. These are things you can't see unless you have a spiritual eye. So if you're not following me, it's okay. Just don't even bother. Because you have to be able to see things from a spiritual perspective in order to see what I'm talking about at all. You also have to know your word, because I'm throwing in the scriptures of what I thought of when I saw certain things. Anyway, when they go in this cave, there's a lot of riches, and there's an oil lamp, and they've been instructed not to touch any of the precious stones, only the lamp. So as you see the monkey and Aladdin going through this cave, each one of them is tempted, and the other one nudges them to keep their focus. And it's like the flesh and the spirit keeping each other in check. Let's see. Aladdin finds the magic carpet, and the magic carpet is stuck under a rock, and he frees it, which is symbolic of giving a covering in order to be covered, and the magic carpet covers him throughout the rest of the movie. Now, so when they get in this cave, they see this magic carpet, and he'd already heard of a magic carpet. It's stuck in between two rocks. Now, if you understand that rock represents those like Yeshua, flesh and spirit. Now, the carpet is the covering representing the spirit. So the rock it's stuck in is the flesh. Now, if you understand that Adam did not give Hava a covering, but Hava gave Adam the covering, loosing him from being stuck, but he is keeping her stuck. Those who unstick or set free the covering are covered. So Aladdin chooses to, let the carpet get out from underneath or stuck in between these rocks. The fleshly nature, he's unsticking. In other words, he's given a covering, he's going to get a covering. And this carpet follows him throughout the entire movie, even when the lamp is under the possession of Jafar. The carpet is still there with the monkey and Aladdin. And that's why the magic carpet represents the Garden of Eden, because when we are all covering, that's just like not having an evil eye, not speaking Lashon Hara, we will be in the Garden of Eden. That's why that carpet represents the Garden of Eden. The magic carpet, the flying one that flies you through the air being the spiritual understanding of things. Let me see, I gotta find my place again. It's hard for me to go back and forth, but I'm trying to make this a smooth explanation here as much as I can. The monkey touches a ruby as Aladdin gets the lamp, and the cave starts to self-destruct, and the magic carpet saves them both. Okay, Jafar gets the lamp, but tries to hurt Aladdin and keep him from getting out of the cave as it's falling apart. So the monkey takes back the lamp as the mountain gets sealed up with them in it. Aladdin asks the carpet how to get out, and the carpet points to the lamp, because, of course, Aladdin doesn't realize there's a genie in that lamp that can do anything. He's just going to get the lamp for Jafar. Jafar knows what's in that lamp. So Aladdin rubs the lamp, and out comes the genie and asks Aladdin, where is his giant? See, the spirit genie already knows that Aladdin is not like all the others that just want the riches. He can see that, and he can feel it. And the genie calls Aladdin master and sings, he never fails and has never had a friend like me. Yeshua is known as the best friend and that never fails. That's salvation and redemption. I'm not speaking of the man. I'm speaking of the essence in the man, because that essence is the essence of this genie that's supposed to be within us all. The genie tells him he has 3 wishes. He's all powerful but not all knowing. We, the spirit within us, is all powerful but not all knowing. But he makes it clear that if he needs to know something, he can find it out. He can't make anyone love anyone. God is never going to force us to love. And he can't bring back the dead. Now, to raise the dead into the living, that's not a physical thing. Once the flesh is dead, it's dead. Our flesh is not going to rise again. The garden scenario makes that clear. Flesh has been condemned to die. When it's done, it's done. I will never be Shannon Nace again. That is my ego on this earth right now. As all of us. Our flesh, once it's gone, it's gone. Resurrection is about those who are living sacrifices. And once they've given of their life to others, they're allowed to pick it back up again. And of course, that's in this movie. So we'll skip that for now, and we'll get back to it here in a little bit. Aladdin wished to get out of the cave. He didn't rub the lamp, so it didn't count as a wish. And of course, that's his little trick to get the genie to do what he wanted. Aladdin asked the genie what he would wish for, and he would wish for his freedom. Now, Aladdin tells him he will use the third wish to set him free. He wishes to be a prince so he can marry Jasmine. Okay, so let me back up here. Genie tells Aladdin, now I wrote this down today, and I'm going to go over a few scriptures, but you're going to have to look those scriptures up, and it refers to the brass. The genie tells Aladdin, while in the lamp there is nothing but brass. It carries the attributes of strength and endurance, qualities associated with the divine. The choice of brass for crafting god idols is deliberate, an act infusing the material with spiritual significance beyond physical properties. Yes, I'm trying to read my notes because I've made arrows everywhere. Brass symbolizes what is firm, strong, and lasting. Now, when the genie tells him he would wish to be free, that he wishes to be human. And of course, there's a difference between being human and spiritual living in a human body. When you're a spiritual being, you're laying your life down, therefore you're not living. You're not classified as the human or the flesh. So Genie's making it clear that he wants to be free from being a servant and giving everybody else their desires. If we are truly the essence of salvation and redemption, we're giving to others. We're laying our lives down. We are servants like the genie. Hence, gates of brass, Psalms 107:16. Hooves of brass, Micah 4:13. Walls of brass, Jeremiah is made as a brazen wall, Jeremiah 1:18 and 15:20. Mountains of brass, and you can look these up on Google too. This is where I got these. But just when I heard him say nothing but brass everywhere, it did remind me of the scriptures that we read in the Bible. So do that search, because, it'll just bring you that much closer to, the significance of what he's saying. It becomes a symbol, therefore, of hardness, obstinacy, unsensibility in sin, as brow of brass. Isaiah 48:4, they are brass and iron. Jeremiah 6:28, of the wicked, all of them are brass, and it goes on and on. And basically, he is referring to that lamp as us, because we are the ones described as brass. That genie song that I wanted to talk about, we'll talk about it in a minute. Okay, Aladdin tells him he will use his third wish to set him free. He wishes to be a prince so that he can marry Jasmine. He thinks she should run the kingdom. Now, Aladdin is so nervous after he's made the prince, and he's, the genie's saying, this is a gray area. Don't just ask to be a prince. Watch your words and ask specifically for what you want. That's pretty much how we have to do when we are wanting things. You speak things into existence. Speak it as though it was, like Aladdin said in the beginning of the movie. So we have to be specific. He doesn't just want to be a prince. He needs the entourage to go with him to convince her that he's a prince. So Aladdin is so nervous when being introduced that he turns of Jasmine, and she excuses herself to find some bread. He basically stumbles over all of his words, but I want to talk about this song when Genie is introducing Prince Ali Ababwa. He's introducing a brand new star. Show respect, genuflect, down on one knee. Mighty is he, Ali Ababwa, strong as 10 regular men. Definitely. Now, when he said 10 men, it reminded me of the 10 tribes, because I believe that that's what Aladdin represents, all of the 10 tribes. He faced the galloping hordes, 100 bad guys with swords. Who sent those goons to their lords? Why, Prince Ali. And it just reminds me of the battle between the Pharisees, Sadducees, and Yeshua. Because our battle is it's the Word of God, and who is translating that Word of God. When he introduces himself to Jasmine, and he's talking about all the stuff he has to give her, and basically, he's planning to buy her, and she's saying, "I'm not for sale," and she excuses herself and says she's going to go find some bread, which reminds me of Yeshua, who says, "I'm the bread of life." She's looking for someone with substance. She's not looking for all those princes that just want to buy her to shut her up and keep her quiet. Prince Ali said he was there to buy her. Not good from a physical perspective, but spiritually, we were bought with a life, salvation and redemption, so if you think about him buying her with his life spiritually, that's a great thing, but he was presenting himself with the jams and riches to buy her, and it didn't go over well. The genie likes the handmaiden, which it's funny because like kind likes like kind. The handmaiden's a servant, and so is the genie. So they're equally yoked. Aladdin and the princess are equally yoked. He has no problem yielding to Jasmine the gift and letting her lead. And again, this goes back to the garden where Adam did not want to give Hava the lead. She's the gift from God. She is the shepherd. He's supposed to yield to her voice, but instead he overpowered her and silenced her. Aladdin struggles to believe in what he may have to offer to Jasmine. Genie said he made him a prince on the outside, but Aladdin must walk through the door. In other words, we really are who we are on the inside. The outside doesn't matter if there isn't substance on the inside. Aladdin apologizes for his first intro, and then she asks to dance. And of course, when I hear the word dance, I'm thinking dancing with the Father by doing things his way. Just like the Cinderella story with Drew Barrymore, where she dances with the king through the whole movie because they're like kind, and she truly is his bride. And, the genie reminds him that she's looking for the spiritual depth. Aladdin's like, well, the other prince has jewels and physical wealth, but Aladdin has the spiritual wealth, and that's really what Jasmine wants. Later, he asks the genie to go and get the servant girl so that he can meet with Jasmine in her room and talk with her again. And Jasmine, of course, is still skeptical of, and that's her fleshly nature is coming out to protect her. Our ego, our flesh is with us to protect us and shield us from those that would mean us harm. And that's where the attribute is coming from. The tiger is the spiritual nature of her, and that tiger is pretty much vetting who is going to be in her life and who isn't by attacking those he doesn't like. He ends up licking the face of Aladdin. He likes Aladdin. And he's going to be the true judge of character. That's her spirit animal, the king. So when Aladdin comes in, she says, well, she questions him about where his kingdom is on the map. And of course, Aladdin gets the genie to put it on the map so he can convince her that it's a true kingdom. And then they go on a magic carpet ride and they sing a song. Now I want to talk about this song, A Whole New World. And it goes like this. I can show you the world, shining, shimmering, splendid, take you wonder by wonder over, sideways and under on a magic carpet ride. Tell me, princess, now when did you let your heart decide? I can open your eyes, a whole new world and a new fantastic point of view. The song talks about when she's up in the sky, way up here. Let me keep reading because my notes have messed me up a little bit. Aladdin, she's in a whole new world. It's where they can dream and no one can tell them no. A man without a dream shall surely die, is what the word says. Coat of many colors. A new point of view, alluding to a spiritual point of view, and that which only spiritual eyes can see and believe and therefore make it reality. A diamond sky for the diamonds in the rough. And I'm going over the words of the song because basically that whole new world that he's talking about that he can show her is the world that we can see with the spiritual eyes. It has nothing to do with the physical wealth. It has to do with being able to dream a dream, wearing the coat of many colors, being many things to many people. They both agree that the people make it special and that she should lead. Again, they are equally yoked. They both agree that the spirit is to lead. And, he's in the fleshly, and he's agreeing that she, the spiritual, should lead. And he's following her lead. And they both agree that life is about the people. And she wants them to know that they are important. And that's what a true king is about. A king lays his life down for the people. Prince Ali as Aladdin in this new world, and she sees Abu, the monkey, and so does Jafar's parrot. Okay, so in the movie, eventually when they're hovering over everybody in this carpet back in the back watching the people, and he brushes her hair back again, and she realizes she can see him now. This reminds me of when, in the Walk of Emmaus, when Yeshua was recognized in the man walking with the other. I don't believe that was Yeshua. I believe he's seen because of the spiritual attributes of Yeshua in the person, just as that is why Aladdin is seen. They're now in the spiritual land, above the physical world, being able to dream dreams, and no one can tell them that no, they can't do it. And so she recognizes Aladdin and Abu. And of course, Jafar's parrot is always hovering and looking, and he sees the monkey with Aladdin too. Jafar also knows who Aladdin is and sends for him again, ties him up, and pushes him out the window tied to a chair. He wants what he says is his lamp. Again, this is like the Cinderella story. There's always going to be people out there trying to steal your stuff. There's people trying to steal what I'm doing online and making it their own. They can't explain it like I can. God called me to do it. He didn't call somebody else to do it. And there's no wrongdoing in repeating it as long as you tell where you got it. But if you're trying to pass it off as your own, you will be found out. That's just the bottom line. So I'm not worried about it at all. It's just kind of a laughable matter because all of us have been given intelligence, so we need to use it to our best ability for what we have been called to do, not what someone else is called to do. So the carpet, the covering, gets the monkey and the lamp once Aladdin is pushed out the window. They find Aladdin falling in the water, which again, this is a picture of death, burial, and resurrection, the falling in the water, or baptism, going from the old man to the new man. Up to this point, Aladdin wants to continue to lie to Jasmine, who he loves, and present himself as a prince, but we're supposed to tell the truth and risk losing everything to have everything. And, the genie explains to Aladdin at some point in the movie that whatever you gain while you're lying, you will lose. You can't keep anything that you get if you get it in a lie. You have to tell the truth, and then everything that you're supposed to get will come to you no matter what. So that carpet goes, and the monkey drops the lamp in the water for Aladdin to get to rub. And he rubs it just as he's going out. Well, the genie comes out, and, he's got to think fast what you have to wish, and he ends up having him sign a paper, so to speak, underwater, that he's asking him to save him. A wish that he backdates the day before. Okay, well, so I see all of this as a picture of, God's people. They're already asking to be saved. We're already wanting to be saved by the Spirit that's within us. That's what saves us. Not a man, but salvation and redemption that lives in us. And it is a group effort. The carpet, the monkey, and the genie, all representing 3 parts of us. And Aladdin's the ego. So we have to have all 4 to survive, to live, and to lay our lives down. Let me see. Later the genie tells him, Aladdin said, I thought you weren't supposed to be able to do favors. And, the genie tells him that, the saving was a group effort. Aladdin is grateful and doesn't mind the lost wish. And that's the difference between God's people and those who are not God's people. God's people are grateful for having our lives saved, and being able to become the new man. The wiping away of the old man, the one that screwed up and made all the mistakes. That's what it's all about, because we're in a fleshly world learning fleshly lessons. Well, flesh makes mistakes. That's why it dies. It's fallen immediately. It can't be helped. So God had a plan to fix it. So Jafar is found out, and he's put into the dungeon after Aladdin shattered his staff, which, Jafar has a staff, and it's the staff of the serpent, kind of like where Moses and Aaron and the Egyptian leader, Pharaoh, they all had staffs. That's their commandments. And so we know about those commandments. Now, Aaron is the staff of Yeshua. Moses is the staff of the physical law, the 10 Commandments. And then Pharaoh's commandments are that of Jafar's. So we can see the difference in all of them. Again, Aaron's staff is the one that swallows up the staff that turns into the snake. Now, why does Aaron's staff turn into a snake? Well, because if you're looking at his rules from the physical eye, it does not appear to be of God. If you're looking at the 10 Commandments, you wouldn't permit someone to steal in order to feed somebody that's hungry. That would be considered evil. And we have often said that. But now, we say that the world is not coming around, but there are officers that instead of arresting a mother for stealing food for the baby, they'll get them a house, they'll buy food for them, they'll do all these things to help them out, understanding that she is operating in the law of love. She doesn't belong in prison, even though she may have stole or slept in her car, which is against the law. But some laws are not meant to be there. Just like when 100 years ago it used to be unlawful for a white and a black to be married. That's ridiculous. We're all humans. A black dog doesn't tell the white dog, I can't be with you because you're white. It's ridiculous. We're all humans. And we're all awesome humans, and we have a whole lot from each culture to offer to the other cultures. We should be open and learn. The genie tries to talk to Aladdin into telling the truth about not being a prince, warning him again that anything gained with a lie would be lost. The genie told Aladdin he's never called a master a friend before, and Aladdin is breaking his heart by not wanting to be truthful. And I mean, that's God within all of us. It breaks his heart when we don't want to be honest and get things the honest way, his way, walking the law of love. The parrot sees the lamp, tells Jafar, and he steals it and rubs it. So now Jafar's got control because now he's got the lamp and now the genie is at his mercy. But in this movie, when he gets the genie in his control, the genie's totally different with him than he is with Aladdin. With Aladdin, he's buddy-buddy. He's friendly, he's personable. They have lots of conversations. With Jafar, he's only there to answer his request and that's it. And then he goes back into the lamp. And that's pretty much the enemy. You know, because he's a reflection of who Jafar is. And he calls Jafar his master. And it's not a friendly type of relationship. Aladdin sings a song that he can't pretend to be a prince. He has to tell the truth even if it means his dream will end, even if the princess walks away. So again, after he's gone through the water and he's saved, and then he's lectured by the genie about being honest, he goes through that transformation, the butterfly, because he's going to do the work. And he's going to be honest. And he's going to do it even though he may lose everything. But that's his conscience saying, yes, the genie's right, I have to do it his way. That's us. We are saying we have to do it God's way. Jafar breaks into the castle, rubs the lamp, and wishes to be the sultan. Jafar tells Hakim he obeys the sultan, so he obeys him now. Now, before when Jafar was locked up for trying to kill Aladdin, I didn't talk about that. You know, the sultan told him that he serves, Hakim told Jafar he serves the sultan, that it's the law. Okay, now, this is a touchy thing because, of course, you know, there's been the fight between the law and the spiritual, the physical and the spiritual. The law is the law, we must follow it. And I'm talking a lot about it here. The exceptions to the rules, how we're covered when we must break a law to keep the highest, the parentheses, the law of love. So, you know, Hakim is a man of the law, and he's a righteous man. Jafar breaks into the castle, rubs the lamp, and wishes to be sultan. Now, Jafar tells Hakim he obeys the sultan, so he obeys him now. Hakim is all about obeying the law. Everyone knows he did not become the sultan honestly. Hakim agrees to obey. Jafar orders Hakim to get the army to invade the princess's mother's country. Jafar tells the princess to do what she should have done all along and stay silent. Boy, have I heard that a lot. I've been told to be quiet so much for 56 years. And I am now at the point where Princess Jasmine is in this movie. She will not be silenced, and neither will I. I'm speaking my truth as I am speaking right now. It's like having your comments erased because someone doesn't want your comments out. I've made a lot of comments on a lot of my teachers' things, and of course, instead of being addressed, it was erased. I've opened that door for conversation with many of the teachers that I studied under with absolute silence. And that's okay because the time is going to prove well in the end. It's just like the Pharisees and Sadducees. They're everywhere. You know, it's the main theme of The Little Mermaid, the Cinderella story. You know, they want the gift, but they want to follow man's traditions, not God's. And it was man's tradition for the woman to be silenced because he did not understand what his position was. And it was to stand by her side and reinforce what she was offering spiritually. She is escorted out and she sings a song written in stone, every word centuries old and unbending. Stay in your place, better seen and not heard. Well, now that story is ending. And that's where we're at in mankind today. This story is ending. There are women rising up everywhere. There are men rising up who also tell the spiritual story. We will not be told to be silent anymore. It's gotten out of hand. It's ridiculous. She sings, "'Cause I cannot start to crumble. So come on and try to shut me and cut me down. I won't be silenced. You can't keep me quiet. Won't tremble when you try it. All I know is I won't go speechless. Let the storm in. I cannot be broken. No, I won't live unspoken, 'cause I know that I won't go unspeechless. Try to lock me in this cage. I won't just lay me down and die. I will take these broken wings and watch me burn across the sky. Hear the echoes saying I won't be silenced." That's why I'm doing my videos, because I won't be silenced. And there's many that think it's stupid or I'm crazy or whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to be silenced. I'm going to speak the truth. And I'm doing it in love. I'm not, being ugly about it. I hope no one's taking it that way. I'm just saying that I will not be silenced either. If I have to go build muscles again to be all strong physically, to get the point across that I'm not going to be bullied or told what to do or told to be quiet, well, I can do that too. Then she says, "Though you want to see me tremble when you try it, all I know is I won't go speechless." And that's the typical bully. That's what Jafar is. He's a bully. That's what Esau is. He's a bully. They want what they want when they want it. You've got people that'll try to say, "Oh, well, what she's doing or what he's doing now, well, they got that from me." Well, the last time I checked, Jesus was the one that was talked about in the New Testament. I don't remember any of his teachers ever spoken of. Ever. We all are students. And if we're called to be a teacher, we become the teacher. But the teacher of the teacher is also supposed to become the student. If the student becomes the teacher, then the teacher probably needs to learn something. And so the teacher needs to sit down and listen too. It's a reversal of positions. That's all. We're all worthy of whatever position that we get. God gives us what we deserve. The princess then cries out to Hakim. She says, "You were just a boy when your father came to work the grounds, but you have risen up to become our most trusted soldier." I was looking to see how much time I have on there. I'm sorry it's taken so long. As a man, I know you to be both loyal and just, but now you have to choose. Duty isn't always honor. Our greatest challenge isn't speaking up against our enemies, but defying those whose approval we seek the most. Jafar is not worthy of your admiration or your sacrifice. Jafar interjects that he wishes nothing but glory for the kingdom of Agrabah. Jasmine says, "No, you seek glory for yourself, and you would win it off the backs of my people," just like Adam. He was seeking glory off the backs of Hava and her people. And of course, she shall bear to carry in great pain and suffering. Hakim, these men will follow where you lead, but it's up to you. Will you stand silent while Jafar destroys our beloved kingdom, or will you do what is right and stand with the people of Agrabah? Hakim says, "My princess, forgive me, my sultan," to her father. Hakim tells the guards to arrest Jafar, so Jafar rubs the lamp again and wishes to be the most powerful sorcerer that there is. He banishes Hakim and the princess, the cat, to the dungeon. He tells the princess there is no Prince Ali, that he is a lying thief. Aladdin apologizes. Jafar banishes him to the ends of the earth. That reminds me of the Israelites who were being banished to the four corners of the earth. And guess where else? What else is on the four corners? The tzitzit, the commandments. So this is a hint of who he represents. And I see these things when I'm watching TV all the time. It almost drives me nuts sometimes because, like I said, I'm watching 2 movies, not 1. Now, I've watched 2 movies since, and I've seen the same things in those movies, and it's getting more and more visible to me, so that's a good thing, because I'm developing a little better habit of it. Aladdin's out in the cold looking for Abu. Jafar wants the Sultan to suffer, insists he will marry the princess. She agrees only if he makes the suffering stop. The magic carpet is sent by the genie to get Aladdin and Abu. Now, remember, the genie is under the Jafar's command, but that carpet still is going to be next to Aladdin. That's the covering, because he's given that covering. That is how we enter the Garden of Eden, is through coverings, not sacrificing others. The sacrifice of ourselves and covering of others. So, let's see. The carpet saves Jasmine as she steals back the lamp at the supposed wedding that she's going to say I do. She never does say I do. She steals that lamp, she jumps over the side of the rail, and the carpet catches her after it's brought Aladdin and the monkey back. And of course, Jafar is there doing his thing, becoming the sorcerer to try to get the lamp. Aladdin tells Jafar he is still second to the genie. He will always be second. Jafar wishes to be the most powerful being in the universe. He makes him a genie, and he is shackled and cast in his own lamp. Now, what I liked about that part of the movie is that the first will be last, the last will be first. If you wish to be the greatest, you must be the least, and that's what's happening. Jafar wanted to be the greatest, so he was doomed to be the least, a servant with shackles in a lamp. And of course, he's cast over to the mountain for 2,000 years. The genie said he was in it for 1, and I see the 2,000 as death and burial. And I see the 1,000 was the burial for the genie before he got to come out. The least should be the greatest, and the greatest should be the least. The Sultan then wants to know how he can thank Aladdin. Aladdin asks him to accept his apology. Aladdin tells the princess she deserves so much, and the Sultan says, we all make mistakes. The genie offers to make the law disappear. Aladdin makes his final wish to set the genie free. Now, when the genie is free, this is a picture of John 10:17, where it says, my Father loves me because I lay my life down so that I can pick it back up again. When we pick up our life again, we're free. We've been made free. So Aladdin is making the spirit free by now listening to the spirit and letting the spirit live. I don't know if you can see that. That's what I see spiritually going on in this movie. So, the genie gets with the servant girl. They go off and they live and have 2 children. Aladdin and the princess get together, and they're going to live. And they're all in unity, equally yoked. And the Sultan then, the Sultan basically tells Princess Jasmine that she's going to be the new Sultan, that he was just afraid of losing her. Like he lost her mother. That all he saw was this little girl and not the woman she had become. She has shown him courage and strength. He makes her the next Sultan. The second-born gets the inheritance. That's the spiritual natured individual. As Sultan, you may change the law. Again, it's going from the physical 10 Commandments to the spiritual. The 10 Commandments are still set in stone, but the commandments were given to the wicked. You're not wicked if you're operating in love. Therefore, if you have to break a rule to keep the law of love, it is permitted, you are covered. Now, there are some that still have to suffer the consequences of the law, but that's for our growth. And if you love God, you'll see it that way. You won't see it as I'm a victim. So it's all a matter of perspective. And of course, she chooses Aladdin. He becomes the real prince. Dreams do come true because guess what? The genie did make him a prince, and he does end up being a prince because he marries the princess. He's, believe in yourself and do what is right, even if it means breaking a law in order to keep the highest law, the number 1 commandment. is the parentheses of the spiritual world. Now, that's the end of the movie. I may have skipped a couple things. It's been over an hour now. I'm sorry that it was long. I'm hoping that you got the gist of the movie, but I really want to encourage you to go back and listen to the songs because they're magnificent. I just enjoyed each and every one of these characters and their voices, and the words in the songs just fit so perfectly with Scripture. And a whole new world. The spiritual world is going on with the physical. You have to have eyes to see it. It's not a different plane. It's happening in the same plane. You just have to be able to see it. You have to have the eyes to see, the ears to hear in order to experience it. And of course, it's not going to be for everybody, and it's going to be a process. That process has started, but it's going to get bigger and louder, and more people are going to be speaking it. They're already speaking it in astrology as well. I listen to astrology all the time. I love it, and I don't care if anybody likes it or not. It's how God finishes in us what he starts in us. He created the planets. He definitely put people here to study and to see what's going on and how it's affecting us. It's frequency, we're frequency. So it's in our best interest to study it and find out who we are with our birth chart. And that's just the bottom line. There are basic characteristics of each of those signs, but those signs are correlation to the 12 tribes. And so, everything can be correlated to the Bible if you just look hard enough. We have to stop being so persnickety into thinking that only those that are in their Bible are correct. God didn't make everybody to study that Bible the way that we who are in it do it. Not everybody was called to do that. And he speaks to all of us in the way we will understand. He knew what womb he put us in. He knew what religion we were going to be. And so there are many people that are following the law of love without understanding it. There are many people that think that they're believers when really they're not, because they're not following the law. And they're persecuting people for transgressions everywhere, thinking that they're doing what's right, but they're not. It's not right. So, I do believe that I've been called to make and set those things clear and do it with the word and do it with the movies to give examples in plain life of how the word is actually transpiring daily. So with that being said, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Like, share, and subscribe. I hope you don't get tired of seeing me because I'm not going away anytime soon. It may be a little bit before I post another video. I do them as I get stuff to post. But I'm glad that I got this out for you, and I hope you liked it. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.